Right on.
Awesome.
What do we
Okay.
have next?
So next up is one you picked, and you picked this.
I picked it for the label and for another incredibly nerdy reason. Why don't you tell them what it is?
So it is Earl Grey wheat. So it's definitely Jean-Luc Picard influences Star Trek Next Generation. The best
Beer
of the
Earl
Star Trek.
Grey cold.
Yes. So Earl Grey wheat. It's brewed with black tea, cornflower petals, bergamot, and coriander. So it's going to be spicy,
I dare say perhaps savory?
oily, savory, yeah. So it's going to be, you'll probably have savory, a lot of spice in it, some orange kind of flavor, probably orange peel flavors. Bergamot oil is interesting. So I'm not really sure what bergamot is or bergamot.
That's what gives Earl Grey its essence.
Oh, so it's going to taste, it'll be dry too. Dry, peppery, probably,
It'll
right?
be lovely. I can just tell
So
you
very
right now.
smooth?
Just if it tastes anything Earl Grey, it's going to be
So
lovely.
I'm not a tea drinker. Like I kind of know what Earl Grey tastes like because I've had it once or twice, but it's not something I like repeatedly drink. So is Earl Grey always just Earl Grey, or do you mix cream in it?
I personally don't mix cream. I feel like that's a travesty on the tea.
Yes,
I don't put sugar in it either.
that
So
is very
quite carbonated.
yes. So I checked. It was bottled on April 20th. I did a beer review. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure everybody else has seen it. I'll tag it above here. Where I had a beer, the Mango IPA. I'll tag it above me.
Okay.
And I did a beer, and it was a year and a half old. And I was really sad because the beer had so much potential, and it was going to be so good.
But it was so.
But that's the problem. It was like okay, but you could see potential. But because it was a year and a half old, it's like this is kind of like not good. Mm-hmm. And I ended up with 2 bad beer reviews in a row. So lucky me. Okay, so again, no head really. It just immediately went away, which is very like wheat beer, right? There's not going to be a ton of sugar in here, and then kind of like cloudy yellow.
Not unlike our last beer.
Yeah.
The last beer was a little bit more on the
So definitely more fruit. So this is
Fruity
definitely
side. This
the
is
color
definitely,
of wheat ale. So this
Yep.
would be your wheat ale color.
very nice.
Depending on yeast, you might have like banana profiles. I'm not a big wheat beer drinker, so I am in the same boat you are. So let's see if it says anything else. It comes in a 473 milliliter can, 5% alcohol. Cool art as always for Collective Arts. They always have. They just like hire artists to do all their can art, and it's really cool. And I think they usually tag the artist.
What I find great about
Darren Linhart at Darren Linhart. That's really cool from New York. So
Darren Linhart, not
Yeah,
Linhart. Okay.
So
Linhart.
at Darren Lin with one L or one N art. If you want to check out more.
Check him out on Instagram.
So water, barley malt, wheat malt. So actual black tea, actual bergamot oil, actual cornflower petals, hops, yeast, and actual coriander. So they'll definitely be putting stuff into the brew. So if it's put in, there's like dry and basically the later it's put in, the more it's flavor infusion.
Okay.
However, that's an IPA, right? Or dry hopping. Like, so at the end you dry hop for flavor infusion. You put it in earlier, it gets bitter. So this is I don't know a lot about wheat beer. I'm not a huge wheat beer fan. Mm-hmm. So let's go. Let's both go into this blind. Let's smell it.
I just want to say one thing about Collective Arts is sometimes I will buy beer specifically for the packaging and the labeling. I love graphic design. It's my background as well. And Collective Arts being one of those breweries that does support artists, I just find it fascinating seeing the same kind of beer but in different cans and different designs. And so it always makes me wonder, like, which one actually sells better, the same beer but a different design.
Well, so Life in the Clouds, for instance, or Ransack, they're always different cans.
Yep.
They just contract artists. McKellar does that a lot too.
It's brilliant.
McKellar that brewery's interesting because he basically is like travels around the world, sets up bars and brews in different countries. So it's always different, and artists from around the world. Okay, so we're going to smell this guy. Oh, yeah. So see, that's the dank smell I'm talking about.
I was just gonna say that is
dank.
definitely kind of like the
Like a barn.
this
right?
smells
Or a farm, or like
moist,
hay, wet hay.
moist dank.
Yeah.
Right, like not fruity dank for sure.
But it reminds me of like a wet farmhouse or wet farmyard.
But like
field,
if
or almost
it's
like a
more
wet
like
forest floor.
after a rain shower, like not quite so much
Not
an
a
inland
swampy, wet,
flood
yeah.
or anything like that. It has a freshness to it for sure.
But there is some pepper. Like you can get the pepper, like from the coriander has that
Right.
peppery.
Goodness, this smells more like food the more I smell it.
Yeah.
But it's not unappealing for sure. I'm curious about what the taste is.
Yeah, peppery, dank. There's a little bit of like, kind of like orange peel or something in there. Which is very like wheat flavored. And then, yeah. So I'm really curious. Black tea. So is there any? I don't really get the floralness, but that might be the dankness, right?
Yeah,
From
I
the
can't put my
corn
finger
flour.
on it. Yeah.
Okay, well let's try this. I'm really, really curious.
Cheers.
It's actually juicy. It's weird. It's like juicy.
Yeah, I don't get much of the bergamot. Maybe that's some of the aroma to it,
Yeah.
but I don't get that in the flavor.
So it's really, really complex. It kind of has like weird wine profile to it,
Yeah,
like a white wine profile.
it really leaves an interesting flavor, kind of like on the middle of your tongue.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
But so it tastes different as you drink it. Not like,
Yeah,
but as it like hits your palate, it tastes
Right.
different as it goes. And it's not super carbonated, so it's not exploding in your mouth. Where like
but
IPAs, they kind of explode in your mouth, and it's like that's what makes your like mouth water so much, right? These not so much.
it definitely
They're much
stays there.
smoother,
Though.
yeah.
Like its presence is known in your mouth. But I have trouble describing this one for sure. It's
Wonder
definitely a
if
wheat
oil-
ale, and I'm not big on wheat ales. If you ask my wife, however,
This is
she
delicious,
might be
though.
more
Holy
interested
cow.
in that. Yeah.
This is so good. I wonder if the oil affects the consistency of the beer. Because oil, or is that just the infusion of the tea infusion, right? So they're not just throwing tea bags in
Yeah,
there
like
or anything.
are they doing tea? Are they throwing oils? Like
Because
it depends on how the tea is made,
It does say
right?
bergamot oil, right? So they're using. So they're oiling out the tea leaves, probably.
Yeah, I'm very confused by this. I'm not gonna lie.
It's
So I
it-
like it, but I'm confused by it.
rarely have I had a beer that tastes completely different than it smells.
Interesting.
Right? Because it tastes way
does,
different
yeah.
than it smells, and that's
Yeah, it does have the fruitiness, which you would never smell. That's for sure. You smell the dankness, but it's not like a fruity dank.
but then it hits the tongue. It's very like orange, right? Like mellow orange and floral, like very like especially on the tip of my tongue right now after I swallowed it, floral. That floral acidity, I guess.
Right.
If you ever eat a flower petal, that's kind of what it reminds me of.
When would you drink this? Like, what would be a good occasion to drink something like this? Instead, like
After dinner,
after dinner, would
Yeah,
you drink? Would you
instead of
drink
a
it with some
cocktail.
cake? Like some dessert.
I'd sit at a
perhaps?
patio and have this. Say it was like 20 above or something. Something's just dinging in the background, so we apologize in advance. So this is a good after dinner beer. It's a good good afternoon. It's a great camping beer. That's what it is. It's a camping beer, 100%.
I
Because
can
the
see that,
smoke
yes.
wouldn't affect this, right?
Definitely.
Smoke just kills some beer.
You know what? You're absolutely right.
Yeah, like a morning camping beer. But it's stunningly good. And I'm not a wheat beer. This is probably the best wheat beer I've ever had.
See, like labels sometimes do not lie.
I'm very excited drinking this beer. Actually.
Great. That makes me happy.
Okay, I'll leave that there. So Callie can have a little sip after.
What's next?
Okay, so next and last,
We picked 3. We were supposed to pick 1, and
just a little bit of a palate cleanser from Russell Brewing. Coming in at 20 IBU in a 473 milliliter can at 8.5%. Luckily, these are all later. A bourbon barrel-aged imperial stout. So what they do is they actually, they'll go to Maker's Mark or something and get their barrels, right? And that's why you can't find bourbon barrels, because they're all used for beer wine,
oh, nice.
right? Or repeated aging of bourbon or whatever. So you just can't find bourbon barrels on the market.
Right.
And bourbon's only made in Kentucky. Did you know that?
Right, and everything else is like Tennessee whiskey or anything.
That's right. Yeah,
it's kind of like
exactly.
the champagne of
it's
like
just
sparkling wine versus champagne.
It's
right?
just a certain type of whiskey that use certain ingredients are just like sparkling. Champagne is just sparkling wine, right?
But made in a specific place. Yeah.
So it's sparkling wine with the sugar taken out, made in a specific place. Is only made in Kentucky. All right, putting an Imperial Stout into Maker's Mark bourbon barrels seemed like a great idea a year ago, but time has passed and things have changed, and we have ultimately decided to put it in cans for you to drink. Haha, gotcha. A crushable 8.5% Imperial Stout Asian bourbon barrels for 11 months. Holy cow. So that's going to suck it right out of the wood.
Right, that's a long time to be in those barrels.
Yeah, and then so big notes of vanilla, butterscotch, and figs. The art is designed by Yuck Creative. So as much as I can, I always try and share who's doing this. So David Lynn on the Collective Arts, and then again at Yuck Creative. Yes, sorry, it's very small. So awesome, cool art. So little exploding.
Love the art.
Bourbon barrels. I've bought more beer for the art than I ever have for anything else. Octopus Likes to Fight from Great Lakes Brewery is exactly the reason I got that beer, because it's like an octopus with boxing gloves on it.
Nice.
Do I have the can? I had the can here somewhere. I still do. I have the can somewhere. I stole it from the restaurant we were at, and I brought it back and put it on the airplane and everything with me. So
Wow, on the airplane.
yes. Well, it was empty.
That's true.
The beer was very good. I'm not coming back with a full one. So there you go. So this is going to be a strong beer. So while I pour this, hefty duty guy,
Yeah.
do you have any more to talk about Left Being Love? Or maybe talk about your experience in beer? Ooh.
I enjoy beer.
But you're not
I'm
absent as far as craft beer drinking goes.
I've had my fair share of beers, and I enjoy them. I'm not. I definitely feel like I'm a taster.
Yeah.
Like I definitely go for the flavor of beers, and anytime I see someone with a palette of Milwaukee's whatever, or Keystone or Budweiser, I just cringe. I know they're easy. They're easy to go down, and they're cheap, and I get it. But sometimes you just want to go for the actual flavor of a beer.
But so those beer taste like that, and I mean we can do this whole history lesson. I'm actually arranging. So stay tuned, friends of the channel. I'm arranging a show with Kelty and Belinda Crolson, and we're going to talk about
Yes.
the history of beer a little bit, especially in the area, and especially based around Prohibition. So Prohibition destroyed beer. Those in the 20s destroyed beer. And then World War II happened. So what happened after World War II is everybody wanted normalcy and easiness. So that's when boxed dinners came out, all those frozen dinners, right?
Right, yeah.
So everybody also wanted really easy beer. They just wanted everything to be easy and
Like
normal.
a Lethbridge Pilsner,
Yeah,
for
so
example.
Pilsner, Coors Light, but that flavor of adjunct kind of beer came from that, because they didn't want to be offended by anything. Right? It just came from a white picket fence. Everybody mows their lawn every day at 9, that kind of age and time where it was appropriate, and it just stayed. So those beers are made to not offend anybody.
Right, they appeal to the masses.
Yeah.
And for those who aren't sure who Kelty and Belinda are, in case you're first-time watchers,
Yes.
Kelty is one of the local brewmasters here in Lethbridge, who runs Theoretically Brewing, and Belinda Crowson is one of our city council members, who is also a historian and knows a shit ton of history with Lethbridge.
She knows so much.
She is, a
And
treasure trove.
she hosts a history and beer tour that we have in Lethbridge.
Yep.
So all the history. So click above his head here. You'll see the link of our video where we went to Theoretically Brewing and talked to her all about her experience as a brewer and a brewery owner. And we talked a lot about beer and the making of beer, shopping locally, importance of ethics in beer. It was awesome. And then it was through there that we came up with this other show that we're going to hopefully get going. We want to do a multi-part series on history of local beer and history of Prohibition in Canada. And I think it'll be super awesome. Okay, so
Take a look.
the good thing about this, so I would suggest, and this is I've learned this from beer snobs, is you really want to, you don't want to drink this super cold. So it's sat out for about 20 minutes. And it's okay for a beer like this, a bourbon, like in a stout, you want to drink it warmer.
Right.
So you want to drink it at that like 10 or 11 degrees. Kind of. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, just comment below. Let me know. Just blast me. But you want to drink these a bit warmer because you will get more from them, right?
Yeah.
The reason you drink Stellas and Coors so cold is because they're awful. Because the second they warm up, they're bad. But
that's true.
Super cold, a super cold out of the ice Coors Light is fine. I love it camping, you know.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Concerts, same with PBR. You take me to punk shows, PBR all night because they're frozen cold and I'm sweating and getting out of the pit and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do, right? So time and place for all beer. But warm these up for sure. Not in the microwave, just in your hand. So think of them like red wine, right? White wine, you always have a stem. These you can drink. You drink in cups like this, right? So it is midnight dark. When I poured it out, I was shocked.
You cannot see through it.
Syrup.
You cannot. There's no light that's coming
so
through.
So what I'm excited about is this. I want to get the lacing up there. Very brown head on it. Like there's not much to it because we've let it sit for a while. But it's very, very, very brown. And I like when it sticks to the side of your glass. So either, but it sticks smoothly and evenly, which means there's probably lots of good sugars in it. And that'll come from like the booze. Really.
Nice.
Okay, so we're going to smell it. It just smells like coffee. Like wood. You get a lot of wood.
Yep.
And you get a lot of coffee.
Did somebody say what?
Sorry, Full House reference. I don't know why. I don't know what to
Have you
tell
wanted
you.
to
It's
drink
like you're telling me this smells like wood. I'm trying to... And coffee?
You get some butterscotch for sure. I mean, it says so on the label, so there might be like a weird bias on that, but definitely...
Aren't I supposed to come up with some of these?
Okay,
You're taking all the words out of my mouth.
So what do you think it smells? Yeah. So what do you think it smells like then?
It smells good for sure. There's a, like you said, butterscotch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have used that, but reference, but there's a sweetness to it. That smells like butterscotch.
Yeah. But almost like baked candied like nuts or something like that, right?
Yeah.
A little bit. But you get a little bit like...
This is something that...
You, to me, you almost get like wood, the smell of wood. Maybe it's like campfire wood or freshly chopped wood, but you do get it.
Definitely. Now, would this go good in camping? Would this interfere with a fire?
Maybe if it's like in the mountains.
Okay.
Again, for breakfast. Best time for beer at camping is always breakfast. This is a sitting around your fireplace on a cold winter day, reading a book kind of beer. That's what it is. Cool. You're going to take a long time to drink this because it doesn't matter if it gets warm. It's not going to get to room temperature.
Right.
You're gonna let it cool down a bit. So I would say you keep this in your fridge, bring it out for a bit.
Right.
20 minutes, crack it.
Keep it in your hands, get it.
And then as you're reading your book, you're gonna.
Right.
That's what I would do. Sometimes I wouldn't order this at a bar.
Really? Unless it's like one of those fancy bars, with the wooden tables,
I think if I just wandered in, like in a winter day, blustery day, and there's a couple of us, like, yeah, I'll get one of those, right? It is also 8.5%.
So here's the thing. This I would almost pair with something, like whiskey of some sort. Like the other one, I wouldn't necessarily pair with a bourbon, but this I would. Like maybe like, not quite a scotch. I'm not much of a scotch drinker myself, but... I feel like the two would go together quite well.
Like, I don't smoke, but I think it would go good with a cigar, similar to like a whiskey and cigar.
A cigarette or something? Yeah, maybe.
But it's definitely like a sit around, relaxing.
Definitely, I think that's the point. That's where it's coming across.
Sunday beer, yeah.
Sometimes it's more of a feeling than it is a smell that comes through. Hey.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait a second before we taste it.
Yes. You're gonna go to
this. This is called Fermented Nerds.
Yes.
Have to check the accuracy of the alcohol content. This is over 9,000.
Over 9,000.
Yeah. This is over 9,000. So just be warned.
So what I've heard though, as I read about Russell Brewing and this beer, I'll pour a bit more, is that this isn't even its final form.
Whoa. So you mean there's like a golden version of this?
Okay.
Shall we?
Yeah, let's dig in.
Cheers.
That mouthfeel is insane. It's like you're drinking milkshake at first.
It's creamy.
Yeah. Like you get a lot of burnt
Yeah, but I
flavor.
feel like I've just eaten candy as well.
it is very, very, very sweet.
Like
So let's see what
there's
Canada
definitely a
is.
sweetness to it.
Vanilla, butterscotch, and figs. So figs aren't something we get here a lot. We live in southern Alberta.
No, you don't
It's
even
not-
you don't even see fig trees around here. You don't see them in the supermarket.
But so that it's so unfamiliar, that taste of fig. So is that weird, like bitter, burnt, pithy kind of thing you get out of it?
Now, if memory serves correct, after I've eaten a fig Newton, I would say yeah.
Just
I
kind
would
of
say, yeah.
sweet, pithy, like so the taste of like a stone fruit pith.
Yeah.
Did you know figs aren't vegan?
How so?
Apparently a wasp. So the ones we eat, a wasp needs to crawl into them and die in them to become that fig. So the fig eats it, digests it, and is able to grow into the fruit we eat.
Yeah, you know why I'm cool with that? Like, wasps are assholes anyway.
Right,
So,
gross.
yeah. Eat a fig. Kill a wasp.
The mouthfeel, it's like incredibly. So it is just like. But don't kid yourself, it's just beer. So
Right.
it is a liquid. But when it hits your palate and your mouth, it just like feels like it encompasses everything.
It
like
sticks
it's
to the roof
like
of your
a
mouth,
ball
right?
of fluid.
Like,
yeah.
it's just like on the roof of your mouth,
Yeah.
too.
Like almost like a peanut butter sandwich, right? Where it doesn't just like you just can't eat it fast.
It's this is a negative connotation, but like, you know when you're nervous in public and you have to give a speech,
Yeah.
and suddenly your mouth goes dry.
Yeah.
Like after a while of having this in your mouth, you get that feeling, and so you want another sip. And of course, this helps make speaking in public a little bit easier.
So you do get vanilla because that's the smoothness of it. Is the vanilla.
Yeah,
The butterscotch would be sweetness. Figs, I don't know figs. Like I just honestly don't eat figs.
fig
so-
Newtons for sure.
Yeah, but sweet. A lot of like burnt, like smoky, and that's probably from the barrels, right? Because they burn those barrels before they put stuff in. Before they put they're burnt on the inside, right?
Right. They
light
kind of just
fire.
torch them. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna get some of that no matter what, because that's just gonna last in the wood forever.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's like very brown. So like
You can't see through that.
no, black.
Not even if you
Black
put
and
it up to the light. You
But I even
cannot
like
see
that the
through
head is brown. So like.
Very enjoyable. Definitely something that you'd want to wear your ugly winter sweater and
Yes.
listen to Backstreet Boys around the campfire.
You
It'll never break your
chair,
It'll never break your heart.
legs crossed, pipe, having one of these kind of like.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you want to have like the velvet red robe
Yeah.
with, like your whatever those Shriners hats are.
And then you sit and you're like, "Oh hi, I didn't see you there," and then you start telling a story.
All right. Let me tell you about the time that I was on a podcast called Fermented Nerds.
Where I didn't get any of the bourbon out of this. Really, it is a bit boozy, I guess, but I mean it's 8.5%. But
Right.
it's not. There's not a lot of bourbon in here. Bourbon's a little sweet, like whiskey, right? But
Bourbon has a certain pungency that I would, for lack of a better word, that I would use to, describe the actual
Yeah.
spirit. But I'm not getting that from in here.
no, maybe that. So the bourbon would come. So bourbon barrels come through. Like I said, there's
Right.
this wooden smell, like the burnt wooden taste.
Well, if it indeed is burnt, right?
Yes.
Then
Yeah, they
torch
torch the whole inside of the barrel, right?
that may have just burnt some of like that flavoring
Yeah.
or that expected flavor away.
So, anyways, Russell Brewing did a super job, and we picked 3 really, really good beers.
Excellent beers.
So,
At random.
At
Who would have
random.
known?
Yeah, we just went into the local liquor store, and picked up 3 not local beers
Yeah.
at all. So, Russell Brewing is based in Surrey, BC.
Nice. Still close.
Yeah, so close-ish, but 12-hour drive, 15-hour drive. So that's these guys.
That was one we just reviewed.
Collective Arts is based in Hamilton, which
Oh,
is about
great.
2,500 kilometers away. And then So we did a cross-country trip today from one coast to another. This is based in Newfoundland, Quiddy Viddy. I'm going to look for more of these. I think they had a few more like different types from that brand at the liquor store.
Well, I hope so, because it was good. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
I'm going to try it. I've had lots of Russell. I just had their 25th anniversary double IPA this weekend. It was delicious. I've had a million Collective Arts. This was probably the best wheat beer I've ever had. Because it was maybe unexpectedly good. And wheat beers are usually just like, man, they'll taste like bananas or something.
Collective Arts has never disappointed.
No.
That's the only one of the three that I've had, like, of that brand.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's never disappointed. I've enjoyed it.
So we did 3 Canadian beer here's one from Mid Nerds. I would give them all big thumbs up. And I think you should give this video a big thumbs up.
Like, share, subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe. Comment below about what you thought. Beers you'd like to see us try. If you're local and you want to be on Stranger Danger, let us know. Email fermentednerds@gmail.com. You can find us on all the socials at fermentednerds.com. Plug your Left Being Love one more time.
At Left Being Love on Instagram, leftbeinglove.ca online, and facebook.com/Left Being Love. LETHBIANLOVE. Yes. Okay.
And that's stuck.
I don't have a list.
Did you get Lethbian, or is that something you heard? Because that's stuck now. That's like the identifier for Lethbian.
So here's the thing. It sounds like you have a list, Lethbian, but it's actually something that's kind of been sticking around.
Yeah.
Our mayor calls people from Lethbridge Lethbians. So, I mean, I started a blog just kind of under the preposition that, or the supposition, whichever...
I get words. I just make
whichever direction you want to go from. Yeah, Left Being Love. And so,
I'm going to let you take credit for it.
all right, yeah.
All right.
People call it that. I'm going to go with it.
All right, nerds. Tune in again. Make sure you check out all our other beer reviews, brewery tours, more Stranger Danger. We'll be doing Brown Bag beer review pretty soon. I hope you like everything. Tell your friends about it. Let's get subscribers going. I'm Wally. This is Jonathan. We're out.
Peace. No longer strangers.